Hi, I'm Jim Jackson. Not long ago, I was talking with a Muslim friend who said Muslims love Jesus more than Christians. I asked why he said that, and he told me, well, we Muslims follow Jesus' commands, and you Christians don't. I asked him for an example, and he said that Christians eat pork, but not Muslims. He had never read Mark chapter 7, so he did not have any idea what Jesus taught about defilement from eating foods. Now, you can look it up, but Jesus was concerned about the spiritual defilement that come from sins like lust, deceit, and pride that come out of a man's heart, and not the physical food that goes into his stomach and is digested. Later, I thought about Jesus' words in John 14:21. The one who has my commandments and keeps them is the one who loves me. My friend really had no idea what Jesus commanded. I developed these brief lessons for him and other Muslims who regard Jesus as a prophet, but who have never read the Injil and thus don't know what Jesus taught. Lessons 4, 5, and 6 present Jesus' longest set of commands and teaching, commonly called the Sermon on the Mount. What did the prophet Jesus teach? Number 6 in his series, Practicing Religion Without Hypocrisy. The prophet Jesus taught that the true practice of religion must be done sincerely without hypocrisy. The prophet Jesus frequently called the religious leaders of his day hypocrites because they maintained an outward appearance of piety and holiness while their thought life, attitudes, and motivations were far from the godliness they pretended. Consider the fierce rebuke the prophet Jesus had for the religious leaders of his day. Woe to you, experts in the law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! You cross land and sea to make one convert, and when you get one, you make him twice as much a child of hell as yourselves. In the following passage, the concluding section to the Sermon on the Mount, the prophet Jesus used the actual term hypocrite just once, but every one of the 6 sections deals with the issue of hypocrisy in one way or another. The prophet Jesus spoke a bit sarcastically when he told us to take the beam out of our own eye before attempting to remove a splinter in the eye of another. He appealed to the human love fathers have for their children to teach about God's love toward us. He set the highest standard for living with others, saying, "Treat others as you would want them to treat you." And he conveyed vital spiritual truths by warning about entering through the broad gate and building a house upon the sand. This teaching is simple to understand. Highly academic Pharisees and uneducated fishermen alike could grasp it. Yet the instruction is so profound that no one who truly listens to it will remain unchanged. Do not judge so that you will not be judged. For by the standard you judge, you will be judged, and the measure you use will be the measure you receive. Why do you see the speck in your brother's eye, but fail to see the beam of wood in your own? Or how can you say to your brother, "Let me remove the speck from your eye while there is a beam in your own"? You hypocrite! First remove the beam from your own eye, and then you can see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Do not give what is holy to dogs, or throw your pearls before pigs. Otherwise they will trample them under their feet and turn around and tear you to pieces. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened for you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks the door will be opened. Is there anyone among you who, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, although you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? In everything, treat others as you would want them to treat you, for this fulfills the law and the prophets. Enter through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and the way is spacious that leads to destruction, and there are many who enter through it. How narrow is the gate, and difficult the way that leads to life, and there are few who find it. Watch out for false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are voracious wolves. You will recognize them by their fruit. Grapes are not gathered from thorns, or figs from thistles, are they? In the same way, every good tree bears good fruit, but the bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree is not able to bear bad fruit, nor a bad tree to bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. So then, you will recognize them by their fruit. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter into the kingdom of heaven. Only the one who does the will of my Father in heaven. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, didn't we prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do many powerful deeds in your name? Then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Go away from me, you lawbreakers. Everyone who hears these words of mine and does them is like a wise man who built his house on rock. The rain fell, the flood came, and the winds beat against that house, but it did not collapse because its foundation had been laid on rock. Everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain fell, the flood came, and the winds beat against that house, and it collapsed. It was utterly destroyed. When Jesus finished saying these things, the crowds were amazed by his teaching because he taught them like one who had authority, not like their experts in the law. As you reflect on the prophet Jesus' teaching in the above passage, use the following to guide some of your thoughts and discussion. Look at each of the 6 sections. What is the principal message in each? For example, the section, Do not judge. Ask, seek, knock. The narrow gate. A tree and its fruit. Judgment of pretenders. Hearing and doing. What did the prophet Jesus mean by saying, in everything treat others as you would want them to treat you, for this fulfills the law and the prophets? In the 5th section, what is the prophet Jesus proclaiming about himself? What do you think it means that the prophet Jesus taught like one who had authority, not like their experts in the law? What is one lesson from the prophet Jesus' teaching that speaks to your heart? What is one instruction from the prophet Jesus' teaching that is difficult for you to accept? If you have a public comment about this passage from the Injil, please use the comment box. If you have a question, email me, and I will do my best to respond. Catch me at iwouldloveToTalk@gmail.com. Now, I hope you'll join me for number 7 of the series to examine some of the amazing miracles that Jesus performed.